Wednesday, November 12, 2025. I call this board meeting and board workshop and special meeting of the Kingsville Independent School District to order. We will now have roll call. Joe Mireles here. Brian Kufal. Martin Chapa. Here. David Garcia. Here. Delma Salinas.
Here.
Jacob Perez. Here. Joseph Reese here. Let the record show that there is a quorum of board members present and that this meeting has been posted in accordance with Government Code Chapter 551, State of Texas Open Meetings Act. We move to the moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Now move on to item number 4, public participation. Do we have anyone that wishes to address the board?
Yes, sir. We have Elizabeth Ramos, community.
Ms. Ramos.
Hello, good afternoon, Superintendent, Board of Trustees, the great people of KISD. I'm here to kind of give some kudos to our superintendent. I'm very proud that there's extra transparency since her takeover here at KISD, and I appreciate that. I did have the opportunity to sit down and talk with her. And I remember she's like, I'm trying to get this ship sailing. And I looked at her, I said, well, this ship's located at the bottom of the ocean next to the Titanic, ma'am. And I'm pretty sure she realizes what I meant by that, starting here. And I know she's probably overwhelmed with a lot of goals that she needs to get to. And I know that's why we're here tonight. I do want to kind of, I know it was posted in the paper or Kingsville Record that Peter Pitts mentioned that the reason why the tax rate didn't go through is because a lot of people didn't know about it. But I tend to disagree with that statement because I was reached out a lot by a lot of people who were spreading the word behind closed doors. I gave my opinion on the benefits and the not benefits of doing that and allowed other people to make their own decisions. I believe what it came down to is that our past superintendent had carte blanche to do whatever she wanted. We treated her sort of like a 7-month-old pregnant woman whose husband allowed her to go to the grocery store for grapes and milk. That came back with grapes, milk, cupcakes, chocolate chips, like you name it. That's the way she was spending here at the district. We allowed that to happen instead of giving the pregnant lady $20 and saying just come back with just these 2 items that she went to the store for. And I think moving forward that hopefully you saw that and hopefully there's some transparency when it comes to spending. Just because you say you're going to give more to employees or I think you said employees and facilities and all these other things, but you have to Barney style it to people so they understand. Employees are the grapes, operations is the milk. We're afraid you're going to spend money elsewhere. So I think earning our community's trust back when it comes to spending and on what's important to spend money on will help gain trust from the community at KISD. So I did want to state that in a way. And I know we're here talking for the superintendent's updates. I know I mentioned closing down campuses. I think that's absolutely needed. And I hope that's a discussion, if not tonight, then soon. But I heard rumor that it is one. I heard rumor that we'd be moving into Clayburg, which is fine. I don't know the tiny statistics of how many classrooms and the square footage and such, but I would really hope to, no matter what decision is made, that Memorial doesn't go to waste like the other properties that KIC have. So if Memorial is not on the block for moving, please think about an alternative way to fix the roof and have that become income producing in a way. But that's all I wanted to say. I do want to give kudos to the superintendent. I know there's a lot of procedures and a lot of paperwork that has not been updated online when it comes to rules and regulations and how things should be done through procedure that's not there. And it's actually confusing the community some. So I just let them know when they call and complain, just give them time to get it right. There's a lot of moving parts here, and we're hopefully going in the right direction. So I want to say kudos to you guys for your hard work, and have a good night.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Do we have anyone else?
No, sir.
We now move on to item number 5. Kingsville ISD Board of Trustees will conduct a board workshop to discuss the following. Item 5A, TEA waiver for ESL. Ms. Tanya Williams.
Is it this one?
Yes. While we are setting up, good evening, Dr. Martinez, Superintendent, Board President, and our board members. Good evening. What we will be reviewing tonight is our submission of our ESL waivers, our English as a second language waiver. The purpose of the waiver submission is we currently have 14 certified teachers who have ESL, English as a second language, the CNI team will monitor teacher efforts towards certification attainment. Do we have any questions?
I have a question, Tony.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you mentioned that we have 14 teachers that are going to be placed on this waiver. Do we have any teachers that are certified already?
Yes, we do.
Okay. How many do we have?
I can get you that number. Yes.
I was just wondering, because I know Gillette had just one, and I thought, I know has to be more than that.
Yes, we only submit those that are not certified, yes, but we do have plenty of teachers who do either hold an ESL certification or a bilingual certification.
So this has already been submitted?
No,
It's good, it's going.
it's going to be
Okay.
upon
What-
approval.
What about the class ratio waiver? Yes, that was submitted like in September? What do you think about that?
Yes. Yes, thank you for that question. Good evening, everyone. The class waivers that we requested to TA were denied, and that was due to our accountability ratings, since we were asking for waivers for schools that were D or F. They did not allow that. And so we brought the principals in, and we have to reshuffle some staff to ensure that our class met the criteria that TA demands.
Okay.
So yeah, those were not approved.
Do you think the same thing is gonna happen here if we do this waiver?
So I don't know, it's hard to predict. However, historically, the state looks at the waivers for class size a little bit different than the ESL, because it requires, specific certifications. And we do know that, as Ms. Williams is pointing out, we have allowed, for lack of a better word, our teachers that are required to be certified to continue to prolong the matter. And so now we found ourselves continuously asking for the waivers, and not just us, but many other districts as well. So the DA is trying to crack down on that, and so they are now putting some safeguards in place to ensure that we take a more active role in pursuing and ensuring that our ESL teachers are certified. Part of the plans that, as Ms. Williams discussed, is I'm certifying ESL, and so is several members of our team. We are going to be developing our internal training to help the teachers that need to get certified prepare for the test. So we're going to prepare them internally to ensure that they have a better shot. And we pay for the test, we pay for the certification. Those are other incentives that we're putting in place to ensure we get them certified.
I think I know the answer to this question, but why so many? 14? Is it just a shortage?
Yes.
I think it's statewide.
Certified?
Yeah, this is a statewide.
Do we offer
issue for it.
stipends? Do we offer any stipends for bilingual or ESL?
Yes, we do.
Is
Yes.
that like a signing bonus, or is it?
They get it at the end of the year. So with their June paycheck, if they have if they have ESL students in their classroom and they're servicing those students, they are given that stipend.
How much is the stipend?
$1,000.
So everyone gets a stipend, or just the teachers that are certified?
Only those that are servicing ESL students. So, yes, ma'am. So even if they are certified, but they do not have ESL students in their classroom and they are not providing services to those students, they do not get that stipend.
Yeah, but what about the ones that are not certified? Are they getting the stipend?
Because I know in other districts they don't.
So is it right to say, Dr. Martinez, that to your knowledge, prior to this year, we had people getting paid to do ESL services, but we were getting the extension after extension
Right.
after extension, and TA said, hey, we're giving the extension, but there's nobody being certified.
So again, in my experience, having worked in other districts where we have struggled with getting certified ESL and bilingual teachers, it is not uncommon at all for districts to continuously ask for waivers. But again, the state is trying to put some safeguards in place. And so they have created some guidelines that we have to follow. For example, they will demand that we provide to them how are we actively recruiting for ESL and bilingual teachers. And, what is our plan? Are we just sitting and waiting for them to apply, or are we actively pursuing it? are we connecting with universities or community colleges to ensure that we get them, the ones we have certified or developing internal programs. So they're putting some safeguards in place to ensure that districts don't get comfortable continuing to ask for waivers, but not actively pursuing a solution, a long-term solution. Because at the end of the day, it's not the waiver, is we have to ensure we provide the students with what they need. And so the certification provides you the opportunity to get well-versed in what it's called, one of the strategies is SILE, which is Shelter Instruction Protocol Observation. And there's different strategies that are really good for all kids, not just for ESL. And then some strategies, for example, if the teacher is mentioning certain words for our students that their second language is English, they need to see the word, they need to pronounce the word, they need to have word walls. So there's different strategies and instructional decisions that teachers have to make to ensure that they are well connected with what the kids need, and getting the certification allows you to learn all of those things as well. And to the intention.
And kind of piggybacking, that is, that's the norm. I mean, honestly, from my experience, it was always a shortage of like a bilingual ESL. What if you have a teacher that refuses to pass?
Well, then, again, I think that the lawyer will say that maybe that's a sticky point, but I can say that we will do our best to provide opportunities for our teachers to get certified. We're moving forward. Whatever happened in the past. I'm not going to look at how many times have you been, not certified serving our ESL students. I think, we're going to address it with the teachers, and we're going to provide them with all the opportunities and encouragement that we can, and then we'll see what happens. But, I don't see why they wouldn't want to do it. There's the stipend of $1,000 to begin with. So we're paying for the test, we're providing the training. So it's a good incentive to entice them to go ahead and get certified and just, learn, grow, get better. And at the same time, get that out of the way so they don't have to worry about it anymore.
I've got my last question. What is the difference between bilingual and ESL?
So the difference in certification, they do.
Only the program.
Okay, so in our district, we offer an ESL program. We do not offer a bilingual program. We offer English as a second language. There was a transition throughout the state where it did, originally they were known as bilingual students, which means they knew both languages. We transitioned to English as a second language because we do service other languages other than English. But basically it is just mainly a title change of the program itself. There are a few different components as far as, are we pulling out or is it content-based? With our program and being ESL, ours is content-based. So they get those different strategies within the general education content that we are providing. They provide those supports for the different languages that are sitting in their classrooms.
And I know from my experience, we have ESL programs, but the reason being is that in order for it to be a bilingual program, we had to have 20 students in a grade level. So we never had the 20 students, so we had to go to ESL and not bilingual.
And then in the bilingual education, there are different models as well that can be implemented, like 50-50, et cetera. So there's different models, and we don't have them in here, so that's why we hire for ESL teachers, not necessarily bilingual.
Couple of questions. In regards to certification support, can you go into detail about study resources? What exactly are you talking about?
So that is the PD that Dr. Martinez was referencing. So we will do our internal PD with those of us who either are degreed or certified in bilingual or ESL in order to assist the teachers in prepping for that test to improve their success rate.
And ongoing guidance, who's doing the guiding there?
We have our guidance here, as well as Ms. Yesenia Rubacalba, who is a certified teacher. She goes to the campuses every Friday, and she provides that support for the teachers and the students and assisting with those strategies.
So the ongoing guidance is not really for the teacher who's going to be tested, or for the students?
For both. She meets with the teacher. She provides that assistance, and these are strategies that you can use to assist in the classroom, things of that nature. We have a program called Summit K-12 that tracks the progress of our students. So she has also gone to assist them in learning that program, how to implement it, and how to track the students' progress in order to help the students become more successful on TELPAS. And then she also assists with the students themselves. She'll meet with them and, focus more on the speaking and the recording portion of that, because that is where they tend to lack in TELPAS. They get a little bit nervous and they only have 2 shots at that recording. And then other than that, it's automatically submitted. So they assist with the students in becoming comfortable with those tools as well.
My last question is, we're paying for one fee waiver. How much is the fee?
So it's one test. So this year, the state will cover their first attempt. So we wouldn't come out of pocket for anything. When they register for the test, due to House Bill 2, they do not have to pay for the registration fee. And if they're successful in passing it, they don't have to pay the $78 to have that test put on their certification. If for any reason they're unsuccessful on that first attempt, the district will not provide reimbursement until they are successful on that test. So if they're not successful, they do come out of pocket on their own for that test. And that test is $128.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
We now move on to item 5E, strategic planning for the TIP, the Targeted Improvement Plan, and the TAP, the Turnaround Plan. Dr. Joseph Welch.
Get set up. So tonight, good evening, Board President, administrators, members of the public. Thank you for being here. As you know, in our district, we have work to do in the academic area. So we want to present to you our school improvement turnaround plan. It needs to be approved by the board for 3 of our campuses before the 21st of November. And then for 2 of our campuses that are doing a different kind of school improvement turnaround plan, it will be in March. And so today we're bringing to you the TAP, which is for 3 of our campuses. And I'll go in detail on that. But I want to start by saying, not clicking. Am I too far?
You might be.
Okay, here we go. All right, you can click over there. I guess it might not work. So this is the new realignment that we have done in the curriculum and instruction team, and as well as support. We have Dr. Welch is leading as the assistant superintendent of CNI. Of course, I couldn't do the work without the great people here working in central office, to include the admin and the staff, finance, HR, tech, support services, everyone who diligently worked to support the work of the CNI department. We also have Ms. Jennifer Flowers and Dr. Hilda Arnold, who was just confirmed at the last board meeting, doing the director of school improvement. They are going to be directly coaching principals. They will be visiting campuses 2 days per campus every week. They will be assigned to different campuses along with Dr. Welch, providing intense support to the principals and the teachers as well. And then we have Ms. Tanya Williams, who continues to be the admin for accountability, assessment, testing, and everything else in between. And so that's the core team for the CNI department. And then, of course, we have Ms. Gloria Hamill, our director of special education. And then we have the campus principals and assistant principals as well, to include all the teachers, counselors, nurses, special ed, ELL staff, auxiliary and support staff. It takes a village, right? And we know that for us to achieve any kind of change, we have to work together to to make things happen. So I just wanted to present that team to you. Let's talk about our reality in terms of the state of the district. I want to start with painting the picture of where we are and where we need to go. So as you know, in the accountability rating, we are a 59 out of 100. Historically, for the last 4 years, we have been performing at a DNF status. And so we also have in the rest of the accountability an F in student achievement, and that is the indicator that measures how are students doing the test in the assessment. They pass the test for the elementary and middle school, and then in the high school it includes other criteria such as graduation rates and CCMR. And so in that area, we have a score of F. In school progress, which is the combination of closing the gaps and growth, we have a D. And then in closing the gaps, we have F. And so this is a change over time, as you can see here. And I want to make a clarification. In 2021, we got a score, and then the accountability cut points changed. And so the state provided a what if they would have applied the COT scores, what would have been our score? And so you have it there for your reference as well. This is how our campuses are doing for the last 3 years. As you see, the district rating, as well as all the 5 campuses. We have 2 campuses that are being closely monitored by TA. They are Gillette Middle School and Harvey Elementary School, because they have been an F-rated campus for the last 3 years. And needless to say, as we all know, if we have 2 more years of an F rating, these 2 campuses, TA has the ability to take over the district or force us to close the school. And so we are prioritizing these 2 campuses. We're prioritizing all campuses, but in particular, these 2 campuses, because that's where the accountability rating is more pressing. And so that's the data that we have. When I first started and you asked me to do a listen and learn and just talk to people and find out what's happening in Kingsville ISD, I use this reference, and so I wanted to reiterate that when I said the problem isn't the kids, because it's never the children. I have been in different districts throughout the state of Texas doing school improvement, whether I was a principal at a campus level or a district administrator, small as well as large district, and it's never the children, never the children. However, rather the problem is how we approach the students that we have in front of us. And so the students we know bring incredible potential and ganas and, desire to achieve goals, etc. And the classroom teachers try their best. They want to do their best. Nobody comes to school and say, I'm going to be mediocre today, right? They want to try their best. It's our systems and practices that sometimes fail to meet the needs of our students. And after all, we create the systems and we can change them. So that's what we're doing, right? We're calling it a systemic problem. So it's not the individual teachers or students, but it's the structures, the expectations, the instructional models that shape the way we teach and the way that we learn. And so that's what we're working on. And so we know, and I have heard this phrase for many years, that says every system is perfectly designed to get the result it gets. And so if we want different results, we must change the system. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to change the system that is leading us to achieve the result that we're achieving, because the sad reality is that in the region 2, there's, I believe, 42 school districts, if I'm not mistaken, and Kingsville ISD is the only district that is separated, the only district in the entire region. So we got to change the system, right? Because we have the same kids that other districts have. We have the same great teachers that other districts have. And so we got to figure out what's happening here. And again, it's the system and how we teach, how we learn, how we look at data, how we support our students, et cetera, that we need to change. And so that's what we're doing. In my tour in the school district, these are some of the priority areas that we are going to be hyper-focusing on. Of course, beginning with increasing student academic outcomes. First and foremost, that's got to be a priority for us, given the accountability rating that we're facing. We got to do that by improving the quality of instruction. I am convinced in my 32 years of experience that it's that tier 1 instruction, that first teach, as we call it, is what makes a difference. When we prepare effectively, when we internalize our lessons, when we identify misconceptions, all of those things play a role in how well do we know the students, what kind of relationships do we have, what kind of classroom routines and expectations do we have. All of those will impact the quality of instruction. By doing so, we're going to strengthen the leadership and instructional capacity across all levels. We meet with the principals every week. We provide them with professional development. We go do coverage and walks. We do coaching in the moment. We are intentionally growing one another because, as you know, coaching is a two-way street, right? The coach learns as much by coaching others as the others are learning from the coach. And so we are learning together. We're embracing this challenge together. In the area of special ed, because we are being monitored by TEA, we have certain deficiencies in that area. Ms. Gloria Hamill, our director of special ed, is working in tandem with the principals and the C&I team to ensure that we pay attention to that instruction, the services, the compliance, and the accountability that we have for our special ed students. Of course, we want to expand the CCMR and CADE pathways. You recently approved our move from an early college high school to a P-TECH high school, and that's going to expand opportunities for our students, and it's going to help us increase in that area as well. In terms of accountability, but most importantly, opportunities for our students, right? We are currently applying for different grants in that area to continue to support some of the programs and grow others as well. As you know, we have a budget deficit, and we will talk about this a little bit later, but we have to implement effective systems to maximize and balance our budget. That is a priority. That's a reality that we're facing and that I take very seriously, and I lose sleep at night trying to figure out, where are we getting money? How can we tighten up what we are spending? And it's working collaboratively with Dr. Pitts and the team, trying to identify those areas where we need to do better. We are going to engage in a very strategic budget planning with the principals for next school year. And the way that will look like is the principals will develop their priorities first, and then we develop the budget based on those priorities. And they will be able to manage their budgets directly, which is something they haven't been doing. Like we kind of at central office have been managing the budgets for them. And we have to empower them, guide them, and coach them in effectively managing the budget. And so those are some of the things that we're going to be looking into that area to improve. Needless to say, the reason for district office to exist is to support the campuses. And I have made it clear to everyone that when the campuses call or need us, we are there. We are there. We drop what we are doing. There are times that we can't drop what we're doing because it's a sensitive issue or what have you. But for the most part, we figure it out. We have to support the campuses. Recently, when we were having some challenges with the transportation, I deployed 2 people to each of our elementary schools to go support the central office, the administrators and everybody. So we exist to support. We also have to figure out how can we streamline operations to be more effective, more responsive, and more service oriented. I sometimes hear from parents that phone calls are not being returned in a timely manner, or they don't feel that they're getting the support that they need. And so we address those. But I also hear oftentimes, words of gratification in terms of, you're working with us, the principals are great, they help me with this problem. So we will hear both, right? But I always say that there's always a nugget of truth in everything. And so, out of the noise, we have to hear what is the concern and the complaint and the thing behind what we hear on a daily basis. And it's our responsibility to do so. Last but not least, strengthen partnerships with families and the community. That is super critical. I often hear the concerns that we have these events and the parents don't come or the families don't come. And so we have to figure out how do we build stronger partnerships with the community and with businesses, et cetera. So those are the priorities that in my administration we are focusing on, and we want to continue to pursue further. And they align with what I promised the board that I was going to work on. And so this is coming together in that sense. Okay, so now I'm going to pass it on to the team who are going to explain the turnaround plan.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez. Good evening, President Ruiz, members of the board. I'm going to go over some of our strategies that we've come up with for this turnaround plan. So as Dr. Martinez mentioned, some of our campuses are required to submit a turnaround plan. Right here, you can see that there's 3 support labels that our campuses have. The first one is additional targeted support. So any campus that is not identified for comprehensive support and improvement or targeted support and improvement is identified for additional targeted support if performance by one or more student groups is below the CSI cut points, and that's that comprehensive support and improvement. These cut points are built by TEA. Some of it is rather technical, but that is how you get that support label of additional targeted support. Comprehensive progress. So schools that were previously identified for comprehensive support and improvement are closely monitored to ensure they are meeting their improvement goals. As schools show steady growth and progress, the Texas Education Agency updates their status to comprehensive progress. And then lastly, we have comprehensive support and improvement. Schools receiving Title I Part A funding that perform in the lowest 5% statewide are identified for comprehensive support and improvement. Schools that remain in targeted support and improvement for 3 straight years are also moved into the CSI category. So our schools support labels, we have A.D. Harvey Elementary School is additional targeted support. We have N.M. Harrell Elementary School is comprehensive progress. And we have John S. Gillette Middle School, which is comprehensive support and improvement. And those are the support labels that we get from our accountability ratings. So the point of a turnaround plan is to create a 2-year plan. It's going to be monitored through school year 26-27 and 27-28. The reason that these schools need to submit a turnaround plan or a TAP is because that they have had multiple years of unacceptable ratings. The turnaround plans are focused on student outcomes. We want to, the goal of this plan is to transform this campus to a C by the time this plan is implemented. So in 2 years, that is the minimum goal. These campuses should be at a C based on our plan.
Good evening, Dr. Martinez, board president, and members of the board. I want to talk a little bit about the TAP timeline. As you can see, the first thing we have to do is get board approval to submit the initial piece to TA, which we plan to do on November 21st with your approval. Second step for us would be January 23rd of 2026, which is notification of, will be notified of approval or denial by TEA. Again, based upon them approving it, April 8th will be the final notice of improvement because we'll make any adjustments that they deem necessary. And then school year 26, 27, and 27, 28 will be the implementation years for the TAP.
Just to clarify, according to the accountability data, it's 1 year in, 2 years out. So when we are on a specific accountability stance, we have to consistently show improvement for 2 years in a row to drop the label, the label that is assigned to the school. So it's 1 year in and 2 years out.
And next, you'll see the effective school frameworks, which we'll be operating under. The TAP is based on the state's vision of what effective campuses and districts do to produce strong student outcomes. You notice there are 5 levers, excuse me. First, strong school leadership and planning. Second, strategic staffing. Number 3, positive school culture. Lever 4, high quality instructional materials and assessment. And lever 5, effective instruction. What we're working toward is the following trends, district-wide trends and areas of need is increased student academic outcomes, increased leadership and instructional capacity, and strengthen fiscal responsibility. When we talk about increased student academic outcomes across the district, we're talking about student data indicate, excuse me, student data indicate a need to raise achievement and growth for all content areas, especially math and reading. The way we'll do that is through learning walks, which will progress and which will enhance student engagement strategies for teachers, and it will help us become consistent in implementing high quality tier 1 instruction in the core areas of need. Our priorities include increasing student discourse, reading, writing, and thinking at all times,
Harvey and Harrell first. The support label. Okay, the support label again for Harvey is additional targeted support, and for Harrell is comprehensive progress. So our priority levers for this, strong leadership and planning, strategic staffing, high quality instructional materials and assessments, and effective instruction. And that's where we're going to focus our plan. Some of our key actions, and we're going to go into each of these in detail. These are key actions that we need to submit to the state, and these are our priorities for how we're going to turn this campus around, well, these campuses around. We're going to look into the ACE model implementation, district-wide elementary realignment, intensive curriculum and instruction improvements, and additional day school year implementation. And
Okay.
I'll let Dr. Martinez start over there.
So, as you heard previously, the Accelerated Campus Excellence, it's a model that we are able to use to bring about strategic staffing, instructional excellence, extending the school day or the school year, social and emotional learning and supports, and then of course parents and community organizations. So in this particular model, we will staff the campus with highly effective teachers and principals. There are some TR requirements, the teacher incentive allotment requirements for effectiveness levels, like for example, 50% of the teachers in the campus need to be TR recognized. And then we have to define as a district, what does it mean to be an effective teacher? And so we are working on defining those categories based on data. And so we will be presenting that to you, but let us suffice to say that that's one of the criteria. This model will require all teachers and principals to reapply or apply for their jobs. And particularly, we want to do this in the elementary level, not at the middle school or the high school, but in the elementary levels. And there will be a different kind of compensation model for the teachers that are in the elementary campuses. And so including bonus for performance. And I'll go into detail a little bit more further ahead. In terms of the instructional excellence, we will be focusing on, yes, sir, sorry.
So you're saying that we're going to reconstitute some
I'm going
elementaries
to,
right now?
can you go to the next slide, please?
That's just my, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go, keep right there.
This one.
So this is what we are proposing, and I should have started with this.
Sorry.
That's okay. So what we are proposing is to consolidate the 3 elementary schools into 2 elementary schools. We are proposing this to optimize staffing, to optimize financial resources, and as well as instructional resources. This will also allow teachers to collaborate. It will allow students to be set in cohorts if they move together from the grade levels. So what we are proposing, and of course it's not, it's tied to the ACE model, which is why I didn't start with that. But even if we do not get the grant for the ACE model, that is what I am proposing. We have a $4.2 million budget deficit, as you know. If you go to the previous one, as you know, our major failed. And so we are now in a, pretty grim situation, and we have to look for ways to do better in terms of the finances. Go back to the slide. And so what we are proposing is to close both Perez and Harrell and consolidate them into 2 grade level bands. Harvey will serve the students in pre-K, kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grades. And then we will repurpose Clayburgh to serve students in 3, 4, 5. We are currently doing facility studies on these two campuses to determine the size, and it seems based on our preliminary data that we will be able to accommodate our students in these two schools. There is some repairs and some conditioning we had to do at Clayburg, and we are going to be working on that, but it doesn't require a huge investment in terms of money. As you know, we're currently using Clayburg for the ECC through a contract. Can you tell what that is, please?
Yes, right now at Clayburg, we have Head Start, and they are using the main building, and then we are currently using the portables for DAP, and we are using an auxiliary building for the CARES program.
Right. And we also have the district pantry over there, which, needless to say, many people don't realize that we do have the pantry there. So I promised the young lady working in there, because she feels like nobody comes around. You're the first superintendent that ever came to visit me. And so we do have a pantry for our families, and we have it located in the Clayburg school as well. So we will have to relocate the DAP, the CARE program, as well as the pantry, the food pantry. And then we will be notifying the Head Start that we will be using that facility. We're going to propose to them if they would like to use Perez or Harold, but that will be a decision they will have to make, obviously. But that is what we are proposing. Whether we get the ACE grant approved by TA or not, which comes with some financial resources or not, because of the financial situation that we're confronting. Questions? Big.
I think there's a question out there. It's still in workshop mode, right? I got a little input. Not too long ago, we did a study on KISD on all the campuses and which campuses were best for growth. And Clayburg came out number one. It had the most space than any other elementary, with the exception of Harvey, because it was a newer school. But that study has already been done, and the board somewhere on file should have that. Clayburg has a inside gym. It has a cafeteria and the most space of any elementary here at KISD. Aside from that, Clayburg is in the barrio, 97% economically challenged population. And it's sad when we close Clayburg, because grandma and grandpa who walk their kids to school could no longer do that. So I think it is imperative that an elementary school open on the north side of town in the barrio for those that can't walk their kids to school. Thank you.
And I will add to this discussion that, of course, we're proposing this to the board, and you get to provide us with the go-ahead with the plan in terms of continuing the study, right? There's a lot of data and information that we have to present to you before a final decision is made. I want to also ensure that we engage the community. We want to do town halls and inform the community and get feedback from the community in terms of what concerns they may have with this realignment, understanding that I wish I was in a position to be opening schools, but unfortunately, we, as many districts in the state of Texas, and in the nation for that matter, we are closing schools. We are not, this is not just Kingsville ISD. You have seen in the news recently, Austin is embarking in a big school closure. They're closing several schools. And just like that, I think they closed several in San Antonio ISD, et cetera. So this is happening, right? As a result of losing enrollment, financial reasons, consolidation of resources, just like we're trying to do here, staffing, financial, and instructional resources. This is something that I want to make sure the community, the teachers, I'm sure will have lots of questions about their employment in the district. And so we want to be very sensitive about all of those questions and provide responses as we are, developing the plan together. It's gonna cause disruption, no doubt. And I will be the first one to tell you again that it's not what I would have wanted to do, but unfortunately, the failure of the Vector put us in a deeper situation that now we have very little choices to make. And so it's something that we will be moving forward with your, approval. And then of course, we will bring you all the data for discussion and approval.
That's more of a comment. I'd like to use flows when you talk to them.
Okay.
It's massively confusing. You never know in 2-3 years, maybe you need to intermediate school or whatever, but clothing sounds like it's gone forever.
Okay.
And I don't think the community wants to hear that. Because I think that they are operational and other needs. And also, there's the whole JET program thing that could be utilized at PETA. They can just walk across the street, technically high school. So that PETA could be used for a multitude of things as well. So I would just say align or consolidate, not use the word close. That freaks people out. I don't really think that's what we're doing here. I just think we're doing the right thing by being able to provide our students and teachers with close resources by aligning the grades like this. And this is the best way to do it.
Thank you.
So in conjunction with the strategies that Dr. Martinez mentioned, we are also going to continue with intensive curriculum and instruction improvements. We are proposing the implementation of Bluebonnet RLA, and these are things that we are going to discuss with community, with you, but these are just things that we are proposing as of now. The curriculum requirements for K through 3rd are 60 minutes per week, and 4th through 5th, 450. And our master schedule right now allows for 600 minutes per week. So these are things that we are already implementing so that we can give our teachers and students enough time to master the content. Continued use of Bluebonnet Math K through 5. Again, the curriculum requirements are only 300 minutes per week, and our master schedule allows for 500 minutes per week for our elementary. Continued use of our scholastic curriculum for pre-K, and redesign the master schedule to allow for daily grade level professional learning communities for our core content teachers. In addition, we're looking into the additional day school year implementation, which is extending learning opportunities through additional full day instructional days at the end of the year. It's designed to increase instructional time for targeted student populations and accelerate academic growth. And it would be up to an additional 30 days. And that targeted student population is important. We are not looking into year-round school. That is not what this is. It's going to provide opportunities for reteaching, enrichment, readiness for the next grade level, and it's going to support our implementation goals on increasing our academic outcomes and our instructional capacity.
Is that a Saturday, any Saturdays scheduled for that, or is that just gonna be after the school?
So throughout the school year, it will be weekdays extended into June. Yes, but we can add the Saturday school. Unfortunately, Saturday school has a bad connotation. So what we have been talking around is the idea of collaborating with other community partnerships to bring about some level of student active engagement in different activities, and then also interface the academics. And so that's part of the long range plan. But what we are talking about here with the ADSI, that additional day school year, it's extending the school year into the summer to target those kids that need the most support.
And Dr. Martinez, if I may, one of the curriculum that we already use, the Bluebonnet for math K through 5, already does have modules that we have already for that curriculum. So we would not have to be reinventing the wheel. We already have that high quality instructional material for these days.
And that is the other, I'm glad you mentioned that. I don't know if we had mentioned it, but we do have the high quality instructional material using Bluebonnet for math. We don't have it for reading. And so we are going to bring to your consideration for approval the Bluebonnet in English as well, so that we can start implementing it next school year and have that high quality instructional material that also provides us with the lesson plans for that extended school year. So we don't have to put another burden on the teachers to create the lessons. We already have them and they're tied together with what they're running over the course of the year.
So moving on to Gillette Middle School, this is going to be our turnaround plan for Gillette. Again, they are labeled comprehensive support and improvement identified. So our priority levers here are strong leadership and planning, high quality instructional materials and assessment, and effective instruction. And our main action is going to be that intensive curriculum and instruction improvement.
Then we're talking about intensive curriculum and instruction improvement milestones. So first thing we're talking about is capacity building to continue professional learning communities focusing on curriculum and implementation and instructional best practices. Implementation checkpoints, quarterly implementation reviews, weekly classroom walks, instructional calibrations. And I want to kind of clarify that. We talk weekly classroom walks, and those calibrations are with principals, but there will be daily ongoing classroom walks that will happen on the campus with my team as well as principals. And we will also have those calibrations. The principals will have daily calibrations with their admin team also. Coaching touch points. Weekly, daily instructional coaching continues with modeling and co-planning. Learning walks focusing on planning and internalization, engaging instructional strategies, aggressive monitoring, and classroom learning environment. Coaching in the moment when visiting classrooms to effect immediate instructional adjustment. And again, I want to elaborate on that. You all know we have a schedule, if you will, year at a glance. And one of the things that we emphasize in our coaching technique is that you can't let a moment pass. So when we talk about coaching in the moment, as instructional leaders, the principals and ourselves, when we see an opportunity for a teacher, rather than allow them to miss that opportunity to engage students and master the learning, because traditionally what would happen, you talk to them afterwards. Well, we've lost that opportunity. We'll be coaching in the moment. And so again, not very respectfully, we'll use various signs. Sometimes we'll do it the way, we'll do it the way a teacher likes. It may be a whiteboard, it may be a hand signal, or if they want us to, it'll be a whisper in the ear. But we will make adjustments in the moment so that the teachers can engage those students and not miss that opportunity for learning. Assessment cycles. Curriculum-based progress monitoring assessment based on the scope and sequence. Beginning, middle, and end of the year NWEA MAP assessments. Beginning, middle, and end of the year summative analysis of student growth and curriculum impact.
And I will add to this before you move from the assessment cycle. As you know, SB 8 changes the way testing is being done, and that will be implemented school year 27-28. And so we have the rest of this year and next school year with the same type of testing situation. But moving forward, what is being proposed in the legislation, or what it's expected, I should say, is that there will be a beginning of the year assessment, middle of the year assessment that is going to be determined by the district. So the TA will select, previously select different types of assessments that they are vetting. And so we will select the type of assessment that we want to use for POY and MOY. And it has to be a criterion-based or a norm-based assessment. And so they're working with different companies to develop those tests. But the good thing about it is that we get that information right away. Like within 2 days, teachers will get the result of those tests, so they're able to use that data to make informed instructional decisions rather than one big test at the end of school year and the kids are gone, right? So they will have, again, the BOY, MOY that will be administered over the course of the year. And then at the end of the school year, they will have an end of the year assessment, which will be determined by TA. Same thing as STAR, pretty much, because it will be determined by the state. They will develop that test. The importance, the implication about it is that they're redesigning the test, so it will be shorter. So it will reduce, hopefully, the anxiety that many kids are feeling when it's so long.
You're saying TA is doing that?
TA is doing
So
that.
they're changing the format. They finally decided what they're gonna do with the STAR test and the course.
I think it's gonna be pretty much the same as the STAR test, but it's gonna be a shorter test. And they are going to eliminate English 2 at the high school level. So we will only have, for the high school, only 4 tests. Algebra 1, English 1, biology, and US history.
There was so much going back and forth in the legislature, so they finally decided.
Yeah.
And to actually continue on that conversation, campus progress monitoring and assessment plan. The campus will implement a comprehensive assessment plan to monitor student progress and guide instruction. Required assessments will include STAR, ELC, NWEA, MAP at the beginning, middle, and end of the year, district-created benchmarks, and curriculum-based unit assessments. Data will be analyzed through Eduphoria to track growth, identify learning gaps, and inform targeted interventions and instructional adjustments that promote continuous improvement in student achievement.
So teachers then will have their data as soon as it's done and run through. They'll have access to it immediately rather than waiting weeks.
Yes, sir. It will be pretty much immediate. Once that is done electronically, as Dr. Martinez said, within 48 hours, they will typically have all of their data to review.
Great.
So, live time.
And we want to begin the utilization of the NWA map, which allows us the opportunity to use a BOY, MOY, and NOY. I have used that test in our districts, and several of our principals and administrators have had experience with the NWA map. It's a nationally normed test, meaning that the students' data or the results of the test are compared at a national level. So it's not just the kids in Texas. And the test is adaptive in nature. And it uses a formula that they call a zone of proximal development, which basically says, when I take a test as a student, it starts me sort of like in the middle. And depending on how I answer that question, the test adapts higher. And if I don't get that answer right, then it lowers to another easier question. And then it goes up again until it finds that threshold where it's more that zone that basically says, this is where you are as a student. And so it's a powerful data point for the teachers because they can clearly see where the kids are. And the research on this test has been going on for several years, again, nationally. And it has a huge correlation with STAR performance. So meaning we can predict how the kids are going to do in the math test. How they do in the math test can be a predictor of how they would do in the STAR test. So we will be able to track that data and use it to grow kids. And my philosophy, for what it's worth, I don't worry too much about the test. I worry about instruction. If we have high quality instruction, if we're teaching the TEKS, if we are following the scope and sequence, if we're using high quality instructional materials, we don't have to worry about the test. The test will happen. The kids will do well because we're preparing them for whatever, whether it's a test, whether it's a discussion in class, a special project, whatever the case might be. And that's the mindset that I want us to embrace, because it is really not about the test, it's about learning, right, at high levels. And the test will happen beautifully. It will align beautifully.
Any questions that we haven't answered?
Let's make a comment again on the presentation, us knowing where we're at, where we're headed, and being detailed
Yes, sir.
and showing everything. And I appreciate that. And the team working together with campuses, I can see that we're gonna be moving in the right direction because we know where we need to go. We're not guessing anymore.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question. So this is the actual plan that's gonna be submitted to TA, what we
Yeah.
discussed here. Are
This
you
is
gonna-
the plan.
Okay.
Yeah,
More
You have
details.
Okay, yes, and we will send that plan to you, so you can take a look at it, but it's very cumbersome, yeah. It has a lot of technicality and a lot of information, but, yeah.
And Dr. Martinez, if I may, the actual plan that we submit is a Qualtrics survey. So that's the Excel sheet that has every answer that we need to input on every question that pops up. So this is an overview of our plan.
Those questions are from TA.
Yes, sir.
So I want to thank the team. They have been working really hard, also the principals, the rest of central office as well. This is not easy work, and a lot of thought has gone into developing this plan. I'm sure we will tweak some areas because, nothing is set in stone. We're gonna adapt it as the needs arise. But I'm very grateful to the principals and the team for all the work they're doing.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if the board would like to take a break or we want to move into the special meeting. What is the consensus? Want to keep going, guys? Keep going? All right. So we will now on to item number 6, Kingsville ISD Board of Trustees will now conduct a special meeting. Item 6A, communication from administration, Dr. Martinez.
Good evening, everyone, again. First of all, I want to remind everyone that we have 1.5 weeks now, as it turns out, before the Thanksgiving break, which the school district will be closed during the entire week. Our students will continue to be will continue to enjoy their vacation that Monday, the 1st of December, because on that day we have a district-wide professional development. We are planning great professional development. We sent a survey to all the teachers, asking them what were their interests, right? What they wanted to see in professional development. And so based on that data, then we came back together with the principals and then we selected certain areas, and the principals are presenting, the team, the curriculum and instruction team is presenting, as well as some of the teachers. And so this is going to be a collaborative professional development that it's going to include everyone, and I'm looking forward to it. I will give you more information later on, but it's going to be at the high school, and everybody will be together at the high school. We're going to do round robin sessions. Teachers will get to choose the sessions that interest them the most, so they get to craft their learning based on what they need. And so they will be asked to hand select the sessions they want to attend prior to us leaving next week for the break, because we want to make sure that we have the right size of classrooms and everybody gets the opportunity. That will tell us if we have to offer a session more than once, because, there's a lot of people that want it, etc. And so that's going to be a lot of work on our part to figure that out, and we're happy to do so. But we're excited about that professional development on the 1st of December. I will also remind everyone that after we come back from the break, the Thanksgiving break, we will have 3 weeks before the Christmas break. And we are going to continue to stay strong in instruction. Of course, we will have end of the year celebrations and all those great things that improve culture and make learning joyful, but we are going to focus on instruction. We are going to stay strong, and we are going to expect our teachers to continue teaching, and our principals will be providing that support as well. Last but not least, I just wanted to reintroduce to you the newest members of our team. We have Ms. Nava, who is the Executive Director for Support Services, and then Dr. Arnold, our School Improvement.
You get your work cut out for you?
All right, thank you, Dr. Martinez. Now we move on to item 6B. By common consent, the board agrees to consider as one action item the following: waiver of tuition for transfer student can be found on pages 4 through 8. If anybody has any questions. Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the waiver of tuition for transfer student? Motion made by Delma Salinas,
Second.
made by Jake Bettis. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 6.
Yes.
Now we're on item 6C, discussion and possible action regarding the TEA waiver for ESL that was previously talked about discussed by Ms. Tony Williams. Have a motion to accept. Motion made by Delma Salinas. Second. Second by Joe Mireles. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Now we're on to item number 7, enter into closed session. The board will enter into closed session in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.074 to deliberate and consider the following. Item 7A, consultation with legal counsel regarding legal matters, personal matters. No action will be taken until we return to open session. We are entering into closed session at 7:02 p.m. We now return to open session, and take necessary action on the matters which the board may discuss in open session and upon which action may be taken. We're returning to open session at 8:06 p.m. I don't think we have any discussion of possible action. So there'll be no action taken because there's no action to be taken. So there'll be no further action. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting? Motion made by Jake Betts. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joe Mireles. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 8:06 p.m.